My name is Trampus Alderson. I go by Scratch. I became a warrior just a few months ago, back in October. Um, God brought me to them, and it was amazing. So I think they're doing great things. I think we'll all continue to do great things. So um,
Did you ride motorcycles before becoming in the Warriors of Faith?
yeah, actually, I've rode for years. Was really big into dirt bikes all my life pretty much, and then got into motorcycles later, actual street bikes, and um, then found a group of guys I rode with. I rode for a long time by myself, but now I ride with a great group of guys. So,
That's amazing. Thank you. So, brother, why don't you go ahead and tell us what it was like before you met Christ?
whew. Before Christ, my life was really, really, really dark. Um, I grew up not a bad life growing up. I won't go into a bunch of my childhood because it wasn't bad. I did start drinking at a young age. Just hanging out. My brother was older, so I hung out with him and his friends. So it just, one of those things where you party with your older brother and felt cool, and it wasn't a problem at the time, and just drank with them. As I got older, I continued to drink and didn't grow up in a church of God. My family, we went to church randomly. We were probably the family that went to church to check the box, to say you went. And it was only very random. Later in life, I didn't go at all. I worked a lot, always worked a lot, and would turn to drinking really with drinking heavy with anything that happened in life
Mm.
that didn't go my way. That was my crutch. I got married, actually stopped drinking during my marriage. Amazing woman that I was with for years, and we ended up getting divorced.
Mm.
Um, didn't work out. Just I won't get into that, but it ended badly, and I turned back to drinking extremely heavy.
Okay, so
Um,
it wasn't the alcohol in that particular situation.
no, it was not alcohol was
Okay.
not related in that situation.
Okay.
I would have an occasional drink when I was married, but when I say I quit drinking, I quit drinking. I quit partying, I quit drinking. I would have, socially drink more than anything.
I understand that. I
And
was I was an alcoholic myself, and it's definitely a personality trait. Even though I'm not drinking anymore, I still can do things at 110%, So
oh yeah,
I get
absolutely.
it.
Absolutely. So I after the divorce, I started drinking extremely heavy. Went into severe depression.
Hmm.
Um, I was, I would say about a bottle of Jack Daniels a night.
Can I
Heavy.
ask, were you able to keep a job, keep a roof over your head, that kind of functioning alcoholic?
I was very functioning. I worked and still worked as hard as I ever did. But the minute I got home, I didn't have to have it during work, didn't have to have it. I mean, if I was living my life, I didn't have to have it during that time.
Hmm.
But the minute I came home, I started drinking, and I drank until I either ran out or passed out,
It was like a
basically.
reward for doing
Yeah,
all the good
yeah.
deeds that day,
There you
right?
go.
Going to
Exactly.
work, paying the bills.
Exactly. Exactly. And mine was loneliness and depression.
Mm.
Was my main reason. I felt that it solved that when it didn't, really solve anything, but that was
Right.
my solution. Um, Became extremely suicidal.
Mm.
So to the point I wanted to, but I couldn't do it.
Mm.
I wasn't strong enough, I guess, to do that, or at least now I say that then, but now I know what the reason was. God had plans for me.
Exactly. That's what I was
Um,
gonna say. That was God protecting you from yourself,
exactly.
from your own demons.
It was. I would drink and drive, which is horrible. I didn't think of anyone else, so I could have hurt someone else. Many accidents where I total lost vehicles and somehow or another didn't have a scratch on me. I mean, many times, been to jail many times for alcohol related, lost license, done DUI after DUI, didn't care. But during working hours, I was fine. I would work my tail off and then I would go home and I would drink or go out and drink. I learned later to stay at home and drink after so many DUIs, but
It
um,
gets expensive, doesn't
it does. It
it?
does. I mean, I've woke up in jail and not even know how I got there.
Wow.
And when they were letting me out, I asked where my car was, and they explained to me that I totally lost my car, and I didn't even realize it.
Wow.
So, I mean, it was to that extreme.
But still, God was there protecting you. Yep.
Every time, not once did I have a bruise, a scratch, anything.
Worry.
So, after my last DUI, I lost my license for 3 years. They did give me the opportunity to drive to work, so I had a restricted license, so I could at least drive to work.
Right.
During that time, the depression got worse than ever. Um, couldn't go out, couldn't do anything. Lost a lot of what I thought were friends because they weren't going to come pick you up to go out. I mean, exactly. You had to, hey, we're going to be here if you want to come. Well, I can't.
Mm-hmm.
For some reason, I did follow that rule. I didn't go out and drive while I didn't have a license. So I don't know what made me follow that rule, but I didn't follow any others. But I, yeah, so I got really bad. I remember one night really clear to this day. Why I remember it, I don't know why. Well, I say how I remember it so clearly, I don't know. I decided it was the night I was going to take my life. I got home from work, cracked open a bottle of Jack as usual, pulled out my pistol and sat down on the couch and decided I was going to.
Wow.
Um, at some point, I was, I guess, trying to get drunk enough to have the courage to pull the trigger. Someone knocks on my door.
Wow.
No one ever knocks on my door. Um, and it was about 11:30 at night.
Oh my gosh.
And so I was like, okay. Well, I wasn't going to answer it, but I decided to. And there was a tall gentleman and his wife at the door. Never seen them before in my life.
Hmm.
Um, they introduced themselves. I don't think they'll mind if I use their name, but I'm Jackie, and this is my husband, Jeff. And Jeff is a pastor.
Oh my goodness, what angels. Wow.
So Jeff is a pastor of a local church, and they come in and a friend of mine who I talked to earlier that day could tell in my voice something was really wrong.
Hmm.
Well, he attended their church and sent them to my house.
Wow.
And they showed up. We had a really long, deep discussion. That should have changed my life, but it didn't. I took everything he said to heart at the moment, and I tried. I started going to their church. Um, it didn't last long.
How did
Um,
you feel about God at that point? Because you had known him kind of as a child, right? Going to church and stuff. You heard the
yeah,
sermons and then,
honestly, um, at that point in my life, I blame God for everything that happened.
okay,
I
yeah,
was one of those.
yeah,
I would, as I would drink. I mean, a lot of times I would, ask why he did this to me. Why did you take this from me? I always felt like something was taken from me. I grew up with a lot of loss, lost a
mm,
lot of family that I was close to, lost some friends that I was close to, then lost my wife, and I blamed him for all of it.
right.
It had nothing to do with me, I mean, I'm
No,
sitting there
no,
drinking.
absolutely not.
Yeah,
No.
I'm drinking myself to death, but I mean, it had nothing to do with me. But that's the way I looked at it,
Okay.
unfortunately. So after they left, I did, like I said, I attended their church some, wasn't ready. I stopped drinking for a little bit. Well, I say stopped drinking. Stopped drinking as much for a little bit. Went to church, maybe, I don't know, a couple of months, and then stopped. Went right back to exactly what I was before,
Mm,
maybe even worse.
right.
Still didn't know God at all.
Mm.
Had no interest in any of that. I mean, no interest at all in religion. All I wanted to do was go to work, make a living, and go home and drink.
How could God fix me, right? Like,
Yeah,
whenever he's
exactly.
punished me so much.
Yeah, I mean, exactly. He had no interest in me. He
Right.
didn't. I mean, in my opinion, he had no use for me. I mean, he let all this happen. Why would he have an interest in me?
Right. Right.
So I still to this day, many attempts to where I would try to kill myself, but couldn't. Um, I would say not every night, but the majority of the nights, every night that I cracked open a bottle, I would have my pistol in my hand.
Oh, wow.
And it was sitting beside me every night because I wanted every night to be the last.
So, like some people drink and smoke cigarettes, you drink and hold your pistol.
Yeah.
Right.
And I would hope that one day I would have the courage to do it.
Mm.
And I didn't. Thank God now.
Right.
But
Right.
and I realize now that it was all him,
Right.
every bit of it. I didn't then. To then, it was just I was a coward and couldn't pull the trigger.
Right. Right.
You know,
Well, that's what
and
the enemy is trying to tell you,
yeah,
right? Like, you're a coward. The world would be better without you. All of those things, and yet here's God, here's the Holy Spirit, even though you're not ready for them. They're still putting those demons at bay enough to where you're still here today.
yeah. So I that was that was rough. It was, and I look back now, and it was just life then. I didn't think anything about it. That was just, I mean, I knew I couldn't wait. I usually got off work at 7 o'clock at night. I could not wait for 7 o'clock.
Mm.
I could start drinking. And that would be the first thing. I mean, I would usually come home from work, take a shower. I was drinking in the shower.
Oh, wow.
I mean, I would carry it with me. That's how
Hmm.
quickly I wanted to get a hold of it. I wanted to kill the pain. I had so much pain and so much that I felt that didn't have to live for that I wanted to cover it up.
Yeah, you're trying to fill a hole that you now know only God can fill. But, we tend to want to fill a hole inside and we
I did.
choose worldly things, right?
Oh yeah. I mean, I used to I tell people now that I drank out of, I think a lot of it was it was out of loneliness and boredom. I mean, I didn't, I, the friends that I supposedly had that I lost when I lost my license during that time, this was probably, when I lost my license was probably 9 years ago.
Mm,
So, but it didn't fix me. I got my license back. And the only thing that would, when I did get my license back after that 3 years spread, I did not drink and drive. I did stop that at least. And it wasn't because of the right reasons. It wasn't because I was scared I'd hurt someone or myself. It was because I didn't want to lose my license again.
right.
I
Yeah.
mean,
We're very selfish in
oh,
our addictions.
absolutely.
Yeah. And then for me, whenever I was active in my addiction, I had rules, which I didn't know that normal people didn't have to have rules. But I set rules for myself and like don't drink and drive, whatever my rules were, right? And that is what I was like, I'm clearly not an alcoholic or an addict because I don't break these rules.
Yeah.
So that was my justification, right?
And mine was, I'm not alcoholic. I can go all day at work and not drink.
There you go.
I'm
See?
not yeah, I'm not an
Yep.
alcoholic. I don't need it. If I needed it, I would drink at work. I don't drink at work.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm
Alcoholics,
not,
they go to
I
meetings,
don't
right?
have a problem. There's
Yeah.
no problem there, you know. I mean, a bottle every night. I mean, that's not a problem because I could go all
No,
day without it.
everybody does that, right?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Especially with alcohol because it is so socially acceptable.
Yeah.
Birthdays, holidays, whatever, insert alcohol at any social event,
Anything.
right?
I mean, yeah, anything.